For anyone who hasn't experienced like an all-out rip your face out bull market, I find that the toughest thing is that everything is working. So in the last couple of years, your problem was, where can I get a 5x return, or where can I get a 10x return, or where can I even get a 2x return? And now the whole industry is a 3x return. So you need to really focus. This episode is brought to you by Geodnet, the world's largest decentralized RTK network, delivering real-time, centimeter-accurate positioning around the globe. You'll hear more about them later in the episode. Nothing said on Empire is a recommendation to buy or sell any investments or products. This podcast is for informational purposes only, and the views expressed by anyone on the show are solely their opinions, not financial advice or necessarily the views of Blockworks. Our hosts, guests, and the Blockworks team may hold positions in the companies, funds, or projects discussed. Folks, welcome back. We got the Roundup. Santi just announced that Inversion is pivoting to rolling up RB chains. And yeah, Santi, what's up?
I mean, listen, Bain, I think it was like one of the best investments of Bain Capital was like buying like Pizza Hut chains in like Japan. IPO them, killed it. Like one of their best deals.
Interesting.
Sometimes you got to wonder, man. Like,
isn't Domino's the best performing stock of the last decade?
I was going to say like,
I think it's Domino's and Monster.
Yeah, Monster for sure. I mean, there's a lot of these crazy stories where you're like sitting there, you're trying to reinvent the financial system, and then all of a sudden you say, man, I could literally have just bought Domino's. This is like a classic left curve, right curve, right? Which is like, buy stuff that you like, and then right curve, buy stuff that you like, middle curve, well, DCF. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, we had this hedge fund manager come in, and when I went to Emory down in Atlanta, and we had this hedge fund manager come in and talk to us, and his daughter was in the class, and he said, you guys theoretically should outperform all of me, because I'm not in, he's like, I'm 50 years old. I'm not in touch with what's going on. So I have to do the models. He's like, you guys have another decade from when you're 20 to 30 where you don't have to do the models and you can actually see what people are actually using. So he's like, best trade I ever made was when my daughter came home with an iPhone in 8th grade. And I saw that, and she was saying every single one of her friends wants that. Next trade I made was Skechers, right? When I saw that, like they had the little, when my daughter wanted all the trade I made before that was Skechers. So yeah, it's an interesting takeaway. Speaking of markets, dude, hell of a week in markets. We can pull up some prices and talk through this. I'd love to just get your take on how we're feeling about things. So to run through it, in case anyone's not paying attention to the numbers, Bitcoin's up 6.5% to 118. ETH is up a whopping 23%. XRP is up 32%. Sol is up 11%. Dogecoin 17%. Cardano ripping 27. Hyperliquid 11. What's your sense of the markets right now? Like, what do you do when you see this happening? What do you think?
Obviously, I mean, not all of these are the same, right? Hyperliquid has been the darling of the cycle. But everything else is pumping too. Memes have catching a bid, particularly Pump had its ICO, which we should talk about that. And I generally think, look, Bitcoin's gone up from sub 100K to now stabilizing at 118, close to 120K, all-time high. And if it holds that level, it's just so much wealth creation after that, right?
Yeah.
So typically, and people know this, but I'm just going to rehash it. Bitcoin rips, stabilizes, then higher beta, riskier stuff catches a bid. You've had also ETH has gotten a very material bid. There's been like $500 million of inflows on the Bitcoin ETF products. You had the Joe Lubin treasury company. Treasury companies are all the rage now. We should also talk about that. I have a very strong opinion on that. You and I were talking about that yesterday, that SharpLink Gaming. So yeah, look at who doesn't like when prices are going up. Like just unless you're short.
So we have this new employee of Blockworks who's new to the industry. He's like, yeah, vibes are like so high in this industry. Like this industry is like really fun to work in, much better than TradFi. And I was like, you
should have joined 2 years ago. Look, crypto is one of those industries that gives you the highest highs, the lowest lows. Important not to use too much leverage or any leverage at all, and just buy stuff that you like and be one to hold for a long time. Everyone, Coinbase is all-time high, Robinhood's all-time high, I think not just crypto markets are going up, right? The general market, the S&P also hit all time high, right? Robinhood. We've been talking about Robinhood when it was in the 20s. Now it's 100 plus.
Robinhood's at 105. Coinbase above 105.
Coinbase ripped through all time high. Now
so
it's
here's a sign of the times. I think this is a good. I had my first retail text actually. I was surprised that I didn't get more texts at 100K, but I had a friend text me, said, "What alt should I be buying? Feel like we're about to see a run." I said, "Brother, you're supposed to buy the last 2 years, not when everything is ripping through all-time highs." And he said, "I felt really smart for selling at 100K until a little bit ago." So I think you start to see these so that was one thing. I also, my trainer at my gym said one of his clients was buying Hyperliquid, but they were trading on a platform with 25% fees.
Ooh.
So they didn't. So I don't know how they're buying this thing, but they're trading on a platform with 25% fees, but they want to know how to buy more Hyperliquid. So you're starting to see these things. I think we are clearly in stage 4. For anyone who remembers, over the last 2 years, I've kind of laid out these 4 stages. I actually think I called the timing on this pretty well. So I'll pull this up. In this tweet back in 2024, I said, stage 4, we're mainstream again. Forbes, Bloomberg, CNBC, they love crypto. Your friend texts you about Cardano. Your financial advisor recommends 5% BTC allocation. I think this was the line here. TradFi races to quote unquote tokenize things. Then at some point in mid 2025, weird things start to happen. So walk me through your mindset of maybe what you think the next several months could look like here.
Putting aside macro commentary, which I think that always is a very strong determinant of what markets do. And, I do think that we're going to continue to see more of these public company treasury deals. They will continue to proliferate and for the next couple of months. You just had this week one of Hyperliquid. You're going to probably see more of ETH, more of Sol, and then, a tail end of assets like, people ping me left and right about these, whether, hey, do you have assets to contribute or do you want to do these? So I get why people are doing it. I had a tweet about it, which I think it's going to be very value destructive for the industry. I mean, this is like SPACs all over again. And it is very clearly
this is like what all over again?
SPACs.
SPACs, yes.
Yeah. I was in New York last week. I was meeting with JP Morgan folks, and they gave me this guy, Michael Semblast, I believe. He's like very pointed, like old school guy. I love his like skeptical, cynical takes. And he had a great report there. That's actually public, and you should go read it. But it's always good to go back and revisit like what has happened before. And like SPACs were like super value destructive for retail. Who want the sponsors, right? Who did these SPACs and just got liquidity and got some pretty good terms on it, and then retail got crushed. Like, you can't justify the premium on these things, and everyone says, wait a minute, MicroStrategy, and you're like taking an asset and then you're staking and you're validating and doing all this stuff. The reality of it, I have not seen a compelling argument of that coming to fruition or that justifying the premium. And so the reality is, like, it's just a word of caution for retail. Like, if you want to buy these things, fine, treat it as a speculative near-term thing, but just be very aware that the premium to NAV can also work and go backwards and go negative. And I think that I do wonder if that, to your point around the stages of a cycle, if that really derails, I think that's one of the biggest risks to like just be in a position where a lot of this unwinds, right?
Yeah. So are you doing any of these? Because there's a mindset.
I did one back in the day, a Sol one of the largest ones.
And did you contribute your FTX bankruptcy Sol?
I have not.
No. Because the dynamic. The dynamic that I think is happening right now, that a lot are getting a lot of VCs excited. So originally, you just had 3 VCs doing all these. It was CoinFund, Pantera, and CoinFund, Pantera, and Parify. And now every single VC, I feel like, is doing these. And one of the reasons that they're doing them is a lot of them are sitting on locked Solana and locked tokens across the board. And with these vehicles, they're now they realize that you can actually raise money with instead of just contributing cash, you can actually contribute your locked SOL or locked other things. So, and then if you're a VC and you were sitting on some locked SOL that you thought was unlocky in 2027, now you can contribute it in July 2025 and get liquid in August of 2025 instead of waiting until 2027.
Yeah.
So what do you think for the person out there that's maybe they don't have access to get in these deals privately, but they're looking at something like SBET, which is really just ripping. I mean, ETH is going up 30% week over week. SBET is up. What is SBET up on the week? SBET is up 195% on the month and 77% on the week. What do you say to the person who says, I just want to almost get levered long these things right now?
Yeah, and that's a fair thing to do. I'm not here to give any advice. I'm just saying, like, just be aware that you're paying a premium on this, and relative to the underlying value.
Yeah,
and that's that. And look, everyone can make up their opinion. So I don't have a comment other than I think this at some point unwinds. I'm not here to tell you when or how, other than this thing is not sustainable. And in the absence of showing material business justification for a premium, these things should normalize closer to NAV. And so what you don't want is to be long. The worst case is that what you just said, the inverse happens, which is the underlying actually does go up over the next 5 years. But because you bought it at 5x the premium, you might actually end up losing money if the underlying, what is held in the treasury, actually ends up going up.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a shame that you were right on the thesis, but lost money because of the execution and the structure.
Yeah.
And you can buy these things. You can buy the ETF for Bitcoin and ETH, and very likely you're going to potentially be able to buy the ETF for other products.
Yeah.
Now, okay, let me ask you a series of questions. You're going to construct you have $100. You say, I am now of the mind that crypto is, curing cancer. So I'm going to invest all my excess savings into crypto. And you can say Bitcoin, pick one, pick a few of these assets: Bitcoin, Robinhood, Ethereum, Coinbase, Circle, right, or any of these treasury deals, or something else. What do you do? How do you allocate?
This episode is brought to you by Geodnet, the world's largest decentralized RTK network delivering real-time, centimeter-accurate positioning around the globe. Powering technologies that enable precise navigation for drones, autonomous vehicles, first responders, farmers, and robotics, Geodnet shows that blockchain can be a truly transformative force. By delivering real-time, centimeter-level accuracy, Geodnet enhances emergency response, boosts construction precision, and enables advanced navigation for drones and surveyors far beyond the limits of standard GPS. To find out more, click the link in the show notes or follow them on X. Hey everyone, Jason here. Earlier in today's episode, you heard me mention the weekly CIO Memo from Bitwise. In an industry as hectic, fast, and complex as ours, it's incredibly hard to get an easy, no-nonsense stream of what's actually moving crypto. The memo comes from Matt Hogan, Bitwise's Chief Investment Officer. He's been on the show before, and he has this amazing ability to take the most complex topics and break them down with clarity. Trust me on this one, the Bitwise Weekly CIO Memo is really worth the 5 minutes of your time. Check it out at bitwiseinvestments.com/CIO memo/empire, or just hit the link in the description of today's episode to get started. Carefully consider the extreme risks associated with crypto before investing. As always, investments in blockchain technology involve risk, terms, and conditions apply. Who are you? Are you close to the market, or are you my friend who works in the alcohol industry and he just wants some allocation to crypto?
Let's just assume that the vast majority of new people coming into the industry are just,
okay,
they're like your friend.
Yep. I basically spread it between I take $100 and I buy $25 of Bitcoin, $25 of ETH, $25 of SOL, and $25 of Hype. I spread it between those four.
how do you express a view on ETH and Sol? Just like go on create
I
an
buy,
account on
I buy
Coinbase.
spot. I buy spot
Buy
because
spot.
I buy spot because the people who are, I don't think you should use leverage at all at this stage of the market. I think we're clearly in stage 4 of the market. I wouldn't be using leverage, but I definitely wouldn't be using it if you're not like, who should be using it maybe is like our research analysts who are literally like glued to the screens 27 hours a day right now. Like they can use leverage because they're paying so close of attention to this. Like I'll go days right now without checking prices. I know you're very busy with inversion right now. Like I'm truly going days without checking prices.
Yeah.
And it's just like if I'm going days, my friend texting me, he's excited today, but like he might not check the prices for another month.
Totally.
So.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I think
What do you do? What's your answer to that?
I've actually would increase the allocation of Bitcoin, probably more, like 50% Bitcoin. And out of the remaining 50%, I would sprinkle it probably, I don't know, in some equal weighting between or Solana, Ethereum, and Hyperliquid. Yeah, I would agree with that. Maybe.
And then you could also add coin and Robinhood too if you
Well,
wanted to. Like
on
you
that,
could
but
go
yeah,
10, 10, 10, 10, 10 across all
actually,
those.
sorry, I forgot that I had given you that as an option. Yeah, I would buy 50% Bitcoin, 25% or 25% hood, and the rest just like other stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And the reason I continue to believe that while Robinhood has run up quite a bit, I still continue to believe that it has a very big distribution and funnel, and it's a founder-led organization, and they're going to continue to do really interesting things to leverage this technology and streamline their operations. And I think like I'm also solving for like how do these things behave in the down market, and in like Bitcoin is a very useful asset that
Dude, that's why we just sell the top.
No,
I'm
I think, and of course, it just depends on what size you have and what percentage of your net worth that is. But as I think about my position, I'm just increasingly more of the mind that I should just put more and more into Bitcoin. And I appreciate that I've been on the record saying that I haven't owned Bitcoin. I now think that is entered into a pretty interesting there's something so powerful a bit like the Bloomberg denomination now in a 0.1 million.
So good.
You best believe the anchoring effect of that, it's going to go to 1 million.
Yeah.
I just sort of, I think we're going to be sitting here in 10 years and that thing is going to go to 1 million. And you can put massive.
So are you rebuying? Okay. So there was at one point this cycle, I think you had sold all your Bitcoin and all your ETH. Are you rebuying into either of those?
Bitcoin. Not ETH, Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like, especially my situation is different. Like I don't have any time, any of the stuff that I invest in the early stage that I've gotten liquidity on, I'm basically rotating. The trilogy here that I see is SPX, like ETF, low cost ETF. Like from first principles, buy stuff with low fees, play the law of 72, where divide whatever your annual rate of return is, 72 by whatever your annual rate of return is, and that's how many years it's going to take you to double your money. The market historically has given you anywhere from 12%, 14%, maybe 12%. Normalize like call it 10%. So like, I'm going to be super busy. If I wake up in 5 or 7 years and I double my money on size, I'll be happy. I'm a happy man. And it's money that I'm not going to touch. I'm just going to want to be focused. I've solved them for cash flow. Like that's all set. Like I have enough cash set aside for a rainy day. But I do think that Bitcoin continues to be a pretty interesting bet over the next 10, 20 years. And so I'm happy doing that.
Yeah.
I think there's a version of this world that does another 5x. And now people, there's just something really reflexive of being a store of value, like the memetics. It's a perfect meme and everyone can buy it. The type of buyers, sovereign wealth funds can't buy ETH.
Yeah.
They can buy Bitcoin.
Yeah. I want to call out something that's really important that you're doing, which is changing your mind on something. And as someone who's been taking a lot of heat on Twitter these days for not liking ETH for a while.
You are?
I was. You missed all this?
Why people,
Good.
how can you hate the dude? How can you hate the man?
I was like, okay, so I've been taking all these ETH maxes are like pile driving me into the Twitter, the proverbial Twitter ground here. And I went on a podcast like a couple weeks ago and was like, I don't like ETH, and now ETH is ripping and whatever. I would just remind people like now I'll just tell people now I like ETH, and yeah, I didn't catch the absolute bottom on ETH. I didn't, but there's something that feels. Crypto Twitter will tell you that you can't change your mind on anything, and that you have to get these assets embedded into like your very bones and your DNA.
Injected in your. Yeah,
I will just remind people listening to this that you're allowed to change your mind all the time. 100%. And I now like ETH. I like Bitcoin, even though at one point in the cycle I'd sold all my ETH. Yeah. So
no, I've actually warmed up to Bitcoin a lot. That's the first thing I buy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay. People that can't change their mind are like, do you really think that you're going to get it all right out of the gate? Wow, you are truly delusional. Like, get off your high horse and constantly like, I don't understand this rigidity. Also,
it's funny to me because the price of ETH was similar, like hadn't moved, and they're telling me, they're like, getting on top of me and stuff like that. I'm like, you would have done much better if you just bought some SOL or some hype, and then you like ETH, so now rotate your SOL into ETH right now,
Yeah, it's
you can't win.
Yeah, you can't win. I don't know. I'm really. What else should we talk about on the public markets?
Let's talk. I have a question for you. What is the likelihood? Okay, everyone now thinks 4-year cycle is over. That's like, I think consensus right now is that 4-year cycle is over. Like we're not playing in those 4-year cycle games anymore. Crypto's now mainstream. Et cetera, et cetera. Macro markets have changed, macros changed and stuff like that. The contrarian thing is that the 4-year cycle is extremely intact, and that this cycle, right now, the market is ripping exactly when it should be ripping in a 4-year cycle, and that we top somewhere between November to December. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't ascribe to this thing that when up-only narrative starts coming along, just that's like top-ish. Yeah. That's, you're entering, to your point, stage 5 or 6 or like, and so look, all of it is subject to M2. Like we've all seen the chart of M2 Bitcoin and the correlation around that. So I ascribe to that. I think it's just a flows game. Like people are willing, the wealth creation effect of Bitcoin and the market then trickles down into higher risk stuff. And then that has a reflexive loop and people push and then catch up trades. And like, again, I like to study Howard Marks and I like to study Morgan Housel's of the world, which say one thing over and over and over is markets are ultimately dictated by human behavior, and that is super psychological, and that never changes, and people will push that to extremes. And are we at an extreme level yet? No. I think we're breaking out of Bitcoin's entering new ground, and Coinbase is just hitting all-time highs and I think that this cycle still has legs. But of course the economy and macro plays into that.
Yeah.
And so again, I would like to think that this cycle and the drivers of continued like bid and interest in this industry are very different this time around. Like you have a lot of institutions getting really excited, and we should talk about the stablecoin, the Genius Act. I know we're recording a policy episode tomorrow.
Let's get into that. Let's maybe pivot from market conversation into stablecoins, because there were a few big things this week.
Before we go, a lot of the discussion last time with Rob, who abandoned us in this podcast, was Pump and the ICO. And Rob said something effective like, there's going to be huge disorderly, like all the funds are going to sell, and there's going to be a lot of drama around it. I think we should just like spend a minute on just what ended up happening, what's been happening, and because I think Pump is sort of a pretty important. If you want to understand everything else other than Bitcoin, this is like, you always want to look at a new issuance, especially in this size. It has implications around ICOs and how other projects launch, and you have a whole pipeline of projects that are probably looking at this. Implications for Solana, Bonk, fun and other things, right? And future projects going to launch. Are they going to go via the exchange route or go through and launch directly on chain? So I just want to spend a minute on that because I think it's pretty important when happening.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, there's two ways to look at this. So one is, I'll just give an overview, and then I'm curious to get your take. So Pump launched. I mean, it is basically back to its launch price from what I can see on this chart.
It sold out in 12 minutes.
Sold out in 12 minutes. Yeah, exactly. Actually, this is more interesting to me. So
by the way, it was 500 million raised.
No, I think it was was it 500?
250 or 500?
I thought here's what I think they originally wanted to raise $1 billion. They said that VCs were going to get 200 million and the public markets were going to get 800 million. What ended up happening though is that there was ridiculous VC demand. I think they raised about 750 from VCs, and then they opened up another, I don't know if I actually don't know. I didn't participate in this, but another 250 million or something in the public markets. But I definitely could be wrong about this. Blockworks put together a bunch of data. It's free. If you just type in like Blockworks pump.fun ICO data, you should find it. So we had 10,145 unique people participated in the ICO. The median price of pump tokens purchased was $530.
Not the price, the ticket size.
Sorry, the ticket size. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. 45% of the wallets were created in the last 24 hours before the ICO. Another 40% of the wallets were 90 to 365 days old. I think that's kind of the Bybit drove the most. Then
Binance, you mean Binance, right?
Yeah, Binance. Then Bybit. Oh, that's interesting. Radium, SoulFi, Jupiter's RFQ.
But look, it was the largest, one of the largest ICOs ever.
Yeah,
and it was done all entirely on chain. There were some raise that happened. Some of these distribution partners, like centralized exchanges, right? But it was like entirely processed on chain. Most of it was, which was.
Oh, I'm wrong. It was 446 million raised. You're right.
It was like 400 raised, and that was sold out in 12 minutes. So like, look, clearly
they sold out 275 million in 1 minute. Look at this. It's minutes post launch.
Crazy.
Yeah. So this actually makes you think: Are ICO, IPO? Are people going to go public on chain in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's very much the case, and this is just a really interesting comp. And I think other projects are observing. Simon from Moonrock had an interesting take around, like, praising the pump team for not, quote unquote, bending their knee to exchanges, as is Hyperliquid. And I think it tells you everything you need to know about the cycle. Meme coin activity is strong, and Hyperliquid is pretty impressive what they're pulling off. So it just But look, the price is sort of stabilized, sort of range bound between 50, 5 and 6 billion fully diluted. It's so there's, I think, I haven't seen on-chain data, but I think there's a lot of rotation, a lot of, as we discussed in the prior podcast, like it feels like there's a lot of volume, there's a lot of trading hands. We'll see where it stabilizes, but do you go over under? Do you think by next week? Because our producer, Jared, was telling us about Kalshi and how those micro markets and are what he's playing at, he's betting on. So as is tradition, all of our producers retire after a year because they become genius traders.
Empire producers
this is just
make way more money than we make. Yeah.
These are like the Empire Cubs, so to speak. So Jared, I hope you crush it. But so you have a market. Is Pump greater, like higher or lower in a week's time, and by how much?
I mean, it's like, is it going to rain in 6 weeks? Like, is it going to rain in New York at 2 p.m. on August 1st? I don't know.
Okay, you're making me sound like an idiot. But okay, like maybe in December's time. In December's time, is Pump at 10 billion or 2 billion?
Oh man, I would guess we see some sort of sell-off at some point in in the next like 30 to 60 days, we see some sort of sell off. I mean, if you're a VC who's struggled to book any sort of like profits this cycle, you got to take some chips, right? Even if it's just a 50% gain. So that's like, I will try to do the short-term betting here that you're
okay, say differently.
Short-term sell off, longer term, I think pump ends up doing very well.
What do you think we see first? Pump at 10 billion or pump at 2 billion?
And right now it's what, 5.4 you're saying FDV?
What do you think we touch?
2 billion or 10 billion?
2 or 10. It's right now, for what it's worth, for listeners that are not seeing the screen, 5.3 billion fully diluted.
I think we see 2.
Okay. What would make you change your mind of the bet? What type of odds would you want to see on 10?
If the price chart starts to look something like Hyperliquid did, which is when there's just no sellers, right? Like if you look at the Hyperliquid original chart, like this thing just went up and then it went down. So this is what I think will happen to pump. Like it'll do well, but like it will go down. But then look at this consolidation. It just floated all of January and February around $20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is just, there are no sellers.
Yeah, actually, you exhaust the sellers. So I think you have to go through a lot of that. But look, I think.
Oh, sorry. Here, I didn't get to the end here. I was missing this part. This is what I was trying to say. This is what I think will happen to pump is like, you do have to get through these sellers. Mm-hmm. Like there were people in Hype who were just like, this is, in Hype's case, it was the airdrop people, right? In Pump's case, it's the VCs. Like people got to book profits and sell.
That's a full 3 months right there.
Yeah, exactly. So that took 3 months. It went and it fell down to
$11.
April it was at $10, and then it just steady climb up to 50. I think something similar happens to Pump.
Yeah, I don't think we see it below 2, for what it's worth.
You think 2 or 10 first?
Well, because we don't see it below 2, you invariably do hit 10 first. Yeah. But I'm an investor, so I just think that I continue to hold my thesis that if you're looking at this on like a comp to Hyperliquid, and like they started doing buybacks now, and so if you continue to see meme coin activity and the profitability continues to be there and the buybacks are there, then I think the Hyperliquid is the most logical comp, and Hyperliquid at 46 billion and Pump at 5 is I think that's the opportunity.
This episode is brought to you by Geodnet, the world's largest decentralized RTK network delivering real-time, centimeter-accurate positioning around the globe. Powering technologies that enable precise navigation for drones, autonomous vehicles, first responders, farmers, and robotics, Geodnet shows that blockchain can be a truly transformative force. By delivering real-time centimeter-level accuracy, Geodnet enhances emergency response, boosts construction precision, and enables advanced navigation for drones and surveyors far beyond the limits of standard GPS. To find out more, click the link in the show notes or follow them on X. Hey everyone, Jason here. Earlier in today's episode, you heard me mention the weekly CIO Memo from Bitwise. In an industry as hectic, fast, and complex as ours, it's incredibly hard to get an easy, no-nonsense stream of what's actually moving crypto. The memo comes from Matt Hogan, Bitwise's Chief Investment Officer. He's been on the show before, and he has this amazing ability to take the most complex topics and break them down with clarity. Trust me on this one, the Bitwise Weekly CIO Memo is really worth the 5 minutes of your time. Check it out at bitwiseinvestments.com/CIO memo/empire, or just hit the link in the description of today's episode to get started. Carefully consider the extreme risks associated with crypto before investing. As always, investments in blockchain technology involve risk, terms, and conditions apply. So let's go back to markets. We could jump into stablecoins, but this is bull market episode. We're not talking stables. I mean, we will in a second, but I mean, it's funny, right? Because a week ago, 2 weeks ago, everyone's talking stables and treasury strategies and real revenue and stuff like that. And now everyone's talking about like, when are the alts going to run? So you mentioned minute 2 of this episode, you said for people who haven't seen it, what happens is Bitcoin runs and then it starts to flow off. But what we actually saw last year was Bitcoin ran and then it skipped ETH. It skipped alts. It didn't go to NFTs. It went straight to the meme coins because everyone was trying to front run, basically. They said, we can just skip all the alts and go straight to meme coins. What do you think happens this time around? Do we have a more let's put a word on it. Let's like a clean cycle. Like we rotate to ETH, then we rotate to Sol and Hype, and then we go to the L2 token, or the alts, and then we go to the NFTs and the memes. What do you think? Do you have any sort of sense of what happens?
I still think NFTs catch a bid, and that's going to be late in the game. Pudgy Penguins are. I mean, look, how much is Pudgy Penguins up in the last 30 days?
I heard there's Pudgy Penguins floor price.
It's up 120%, 150%.
Oh baby, let's go. Oh
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look, it's up 2x.
Look at the best performing crypto of the last 90 days.
Pudgy Penguins is up 2x in the last 30 days.
The best performing crypto I think is Pengu.
Pengu, yeah. But that's different. But I agree.
Pengu's up 500% in 3 months.
Same as Hyperliquid, right? Everyone's talking about Hyperliquid, but Pengu's
Hyperliquid's up 180%.
No, okay. So Hyperliquid since April, you just showed the chart, is up 4x.
Since the absolute bottom, yes, is up
10 to almost 5x. Okay, Pengu is up. Do you know what was that?
Yeah, 6x.
That's what I'm saying. Now to 2 billion, 40 billion, way different injection of liquidity. And so naturally, liquidity, I think there's a direct correlation between liquidity, the size of the asset, and how vocal people are. But again, everything's pumping, right? You're not a genius.
Let me rephrase my question. You have to allocate right now. You can't buy Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, Hype, or Coinbase or Robinhood.
Okay.
What do you buy?
Yeah. All of my bags.
Insert bag number one.
Insert bags. I'm just gonna no. All right. What do I not buy? Said differently.
What do you not buy?
I'm probably gonna get a lot of criticism for this, and I'm probably gonna be terribly wrong, but Deepin is just so out of favor, and I don't think it, on a relative basis, I don't think it outperforms. So I'm not gonna buy it. As much as I like it on a fundamental case, I just have a view on Deepin, but I think structurally there's a whole set of not just Deepin, by the way. It's companies where the market is very focused on this equity token distinction, right? Like Helium, for instance, the market's just structurally, there's an overhang. There's funds that bought at the top and are still selling. And there's dynamics, and I want to say there is baggage from the prior cycle. Pengu doesn't necessarily have that much baggage. Yeah, sure, it launched in December, right, of a year and a half or a year. It launched in December of last year, and so you don't have as much baggage from prior cycle. Go look at a Helium chart for a minute and do the max. And I can't explain it because fundamentally, it's getting a lot of traction in users. But Nova, as an equity company, is. Woo. That's what I'm saying. So you have.
It ain't pretty, folks.
You have a lot of so Helium. I'm not just picking on Helium. Helium is one where that chart has some.
Though in the last month it's up 50%, but I guess everything is.
But it's trailed, right? In the last month, 50. What is Ethereum or Solana up in the last month? Maybe less so. Ethereum's up more than that. Solana, not so much, I think.
Let's see. ETH, 37%.
Do you think you're getting compensated appropriately by going farther out on the you're trading?
Right. Do you get an extra 10%?
Brad, I heard it from Brad from Altimeter. I like his framework. He says, you have to think about how many incremental risk units are you taking and are you being compensated enough? Helium gave you 40, 50% in the month. Ethereum gave you 37. How much did Solana give you? When you're making these ultimately, I think you have to think about if you're buying anything on top of an ecosystem, it's a levered bet, right? Oh, that's Maxer. Max 119,000%. Yeah, in the last month, Ethereum's we saw that 37%. Solana,
Sol,
yeah, Sol is I think similarly, maybe a bit less actually.
No, I think Sol's probably less.
So it's less, yeah.
18%.
18%. Okay. So that's sort of like what I'm not buying are perhaps tokens that have a lot of overhang from the prior cycle. And this is a very crude analysis because you have to look at fundamentals and whatnot. But perhaps if I were to just make, you're putting me on the spot here, and I appreciate that, but the DeFi ecosystem in Solana thematically is something that I like. It's difficult because I have positions like everywhere, right?
It's a tough question, right? Because you have to, is the revenue narrative, like we are firmly, like this is the first time in the, like this, we are firmly in a bull market. No ifs, ands, or buts. Like I think there's been, you could debate it. Are we in a Bitcoin bull? This is a full blown crypto cycle bull market.
Everything's up.
So does everything run? Does just, right? Like a year ago, it was like Bitcoin was running, maybe like the revenue coins were running, things that were like real world things were run. Now, I mean, everything's going to run. It's just what runs more.
Totally. But look, I'm going to customize this to show 30-day. So I just filtered on CoinGecko, like top 100 coins by market cap, and looking at the 30-day, and then filtered to show the ones that have performed the worst over the last 30 days. You have Sky, that's Maker, down 8%. Fundamentals clearly don't matter there. You have then
I see what you're doing here.
Athena flat. Oh no, that's USD. Sorry. You have Virtuals, which was flat basically. So the AI narrative maybe not so much. I mean, it's when it had a huge run up.
The exchange tokens, that's interesting. Like
the exchange tokens are kind of flat.
OKB,
yeah, TON. Even though there's Visa with UAE, however real that is flat, not as much. Filecoin up 10%. I mean, it's Polkadot, Tron, and then Hyperliquid up 16% over the last 30 days. What's gone up the most? Bonk. And I think a large part of that is
Pengu, Bonk.
Pengu, Bonk,
Say is pumping.
Is that probably a catch-up trade to Sui? Maybe. Stellar out of nowhere. And then Algorand, Hedera.
You got the Dino coins. The Dino
coins. You know what I buy?
Good pump.
You know what I buy, dude? Ripple. I'm just going on the record. I'm going to buy Ripple.
Do you own Ripple right now?
No, but I would buy it. Yeah. It's a part of my portfolio where it is still synonymous with like DeFi. Again, Maker and Ripple. One has actually, you could argue, on a fundamental basis, Sky is actually pretty, like, call up the framework guys and have them, or Ben a Pairify scream their bull case for Sky. How many times, like, for years you could have like set the narrative, and then you're sitting there, and then Ripple just does its thing. I think taking a very,
by the way, hats off to Brad Garlinghouse. That guy's about to pull off the.
but by the way, now it gets more interesting.
He's gonna.
Well, you could argue one or two. Like he bought Hidden Road, and he's actually like what one should be doing.
He's going to use a meme coin to acquire real businesses and compete at
AOL Time Warner. Now the question is, do you keep it as a perfect meme coin? Because there's also the bear case is that once you start showing fundamentals and revenue, everything collapses because people then focus on.
No, you don't connect the revenue to the token. Okay. Ever. If you're Ripple, you never connect that.
Yeah, okay. Smart. Are you an advisor to Ripple?
What?
Are you an advisor?
No.
Interesting. Yeah, like look, Arbitrum's up 43%, I think, on the basis of like Robinhood. So okay, maybe let me ask you a question. So I'm gonna go on the record. I would buy Ripple because you can throw in a lot of size. The market likes it. Newbies like it, and it's well understood. And distribution and attention is king.
Yeah.
And I continue to think Ripple is just one of those things, right? It's a top 3 coin.
Yeah.
In what state of this world does Ripple not rip and something else does? You know what I mean? Like there's just very few edge cases where I see like Ripple is going to catch a bid, and then everything else also is going to catch a bid.
Call. That's a decent call.
It's a levered bet. And sorry, folks, you're going to hate me for it, but I don't hate it.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I would
Like Blockworks equity. You get
B
IPO. What do you
B
get
token.
IPO, by the way?
B token. That's interesting. You see Coinmetrics sold?
100 million.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to say it.
Yeah. Talk about that in a little bit. But I mean,
Jared, if Gianno says we're going to go offline and he's going to talk about it, make sure to keep recording.
Keep the recording running. I mean, I still have a big Fartcoin bag. I think that like I do.
This is not a serious industry.
You can't be long in XRP and then laughing at me for longing Fartcoin. Like, there's no way this cycle.
Hot air rises.
Hot air rises, dude. Honestly,
can you buy Fartcoin on Robinhood and Revolut and some of these platforms?
I don't.
That's the other analysis I would be making. It's like, which coins can you buy in the normie platforms? And I think just making sure that like you have exposure to that, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because like, by the way, Hyperliquid is still not listed on, I believe, Coinbase and Binance. Is that right? Or am I speaking out of turn?
I think you're right. You're right. I don't get why hype isn't a buy if it's like, can't you just buy on the fact that it's not listed on Coinbase or Binance yet?
By the way, like, you know how many people were pumping Hood stock on the basis that it was going to get added to the S&P 500? Because as soon as Coinbase got added to the S&P 500, it went up massively. It's a flows game. Like, it's a distribute. I keep going back, and you're going to hear me say time and time again, distribution is king. And so that is the lens by which I picked Ripple. It has attention and distribution. It's listed everywhere, and it's easy to buy. To your friend that is getting ripped off 25%, God knows where to buy Hyperliquid.
I don't even want to know where.
You know what I mean? It's challenging. Sky, challenging to buy. So you know, you gotta wonder, like, if we're gonna onboard another however many billions and billions of dollars and new flows come into the space, where is that going to trickle into?
Dude,
other than
Bitcoin? I have an app to shill. I'm not an investor or anything, but it's called Lootbase.
Say that again.
It's called Lootbase.
Lootbase. Lute.
LOOT.
Oh, loot like loot. I see.
I actually want to try to invest in these guys because it's like it's the most addicting consumer. It's built on it's a Robinhood UI on top of Hyperliquid. So look at this. Let's see if it's. I don't know if you can see it, but this is the UI. It's a really nice UI, and it tells you like $100 20x long yesterday would now be worth 275 today. Like, and it I actually went for. I know people think I hate ETH, but I did a 5, and I never trade perps, and this is my only perps thing right now. But I did a 5x perps long on ETH, and it's actually so addicting. I now see why people like it.
Perps are a killer product. Yeah,
it's a killer product.
Okay,
no, but it's even more addicting in your phone when you're like in between.
Mobile. Yeah, I mean, Hyperliquid Pump now. That's sort of like, sorry, Hyperliquid Phantom, that partnership.
Yeah. But it's like, this is it's one of the first like crypto. I don't know, trading on Hyperliquid or trading on Phantom, you still feel like you're using a crypto product. Like, perps with the UI of like a Robinhood. It's a dangerous thing.
There's a great app that I invested in called Euphoria, which is pretty cool, built on Mega ETH.
Are we just pumping investments right now?
No, I mean but it's a good trading experience. It's like very much easy to understand, and Nathan's a good builder, and he really understands.
What's it called? Euphoria.
Yeah.
Euphoria.
Yep.
There's a lot of Euphorias. Euphoria crypto.
I forget.
No, can't even find it.
But anyways, it's mobile. SEO. It's super easy to understand for normies and whatnot.
I've got a question for you. So for anyone who hasn't experienced like an all-out rip your face out bull market, I find that the toughest thing is that everything is working. So in the last couple of years, your problem was, where can I get a 5x return, or where can I get a 10x return, or where can I even get a 2x return? And now the whole industry is a 3x return. So you need to really, really, really focus. Actually, Dan Smith, who's our head of data, tweeted this morning, and it really resonated. He said, first time first stretch of time in 4 years, it's truly felt like an all-out bull with a dozen things that you need to be giving 100% of your attention to. So how do you think about, we've been talking about allocating money. How do you think about allocating time in this period?
Overtrading is a thing. And I think just assume that you're not going to time the top and work backwards from there, and have parameters in place to protect principal, cash out, and optimize for mental clarity to play this game forever, because it really, really sucks. If you can change your life, change your life. And everyone in this industry asks you one thing. So when you discover crypto, and they all want to get to the same thing of like, did you make generational wealth and all this arbitrary numbers? I was talking to Ben from TradFi last night about it. And he said something that I think is very true. And he said it in a way that it just crystallizes it so well. It says, it is incredible how much of a competitive advantage you have when you think in at least 1 or 2 years out, which means I don't think the cycle persists for more than a year. This is just markets doing the thing. If we continue on this pace where everything starts ripping 50% month over month, gravity at some point takes its toll, flows dry up, and the market corrects. So work backwards from there and say, if you came in with $1,000 and you right now would be happy with 5 or 10, do it.
Yeah.
But also don't overtrade, because has, depending on your jurisdiction, has pretty material tax implications. And look, the Charlie Mongers of the world say, don't compute taxes into your equation. Just, like do whatever it is that you think is going to A, protect your principal, and then B, never forget about rule A, which is protect your principal.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said about like, the worst mistakes I've done is assuming that I'm going to tick top the cycle. You're never going to do it. So I'm happy clocking 50% of whatever the total return this cycle is going to deliver. Bitcoin has gone up from 20K to now 120. I mean, that's a 10X in Bitcoin, right? I mean, the low of Bitcoin was what, 20, 25K?
Something like that.
That's like an 8X.
Yeah.
Now, that's massive. So are we topped? Have we topped? Probably not. Because we continue to see new inflows. And that's something that I'm monitoring. But like, I'm just comfortable saying, if my starting base was 100, I'm happy to clock a 50% return because I have 5X the S&P, and that's what I should be getting for this type of asset class. And if venture delivers a 3X, you know what I mean? Like if the IRR of venture and private equity and other asset classes is X above the benchmark, which is markets, crypto, because it's so far out on the risk spectrum, should give me some multiple of that or some incremental margin on top of that.
Yeah.
And if whatever I'm allocating now, it's like, am I going to really outperform Bitcoin? Because I can tell you, I've looked and invested in most or a lot of crypto funds. You know how many outperform Bitcoin?
Like 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so again, like don't overthink it.
Yeah.
I would just be wary of trying to catch trades, spreading yourself too thin, using leverage. Stay disciplined, stay in your lane, pick 1 or 2, 3 things, and then like go from there. But like the reality is like it would really, I think the biggest regrets that if I survey like 100 people, it's like, shit, man, I discovered Bitcoin and Ethereum back in the day and I should have just stuck with it. And there I was trading shit coins and then I lost it all.
I got to pick on people in Alabama. Shit, man.
Shit. Nah, you tell me. No, man. I just, I like 5 years, 10 years time. You best believe this house is going to be an order of magnitude higher.
Yeah.
I wouldn't overthink it too much. The real, I'm now working backwards. Of the top 100 coins, which ones do you ascribe highest probability of surviving over the next 5-10 years? Start there.
Yeah.
Because there's some staying power. Like Ripple, probably. Bitcoin, probably. Ethereum, I don't know.
Yeah. Let's pivot.
Yeah, okay. You've had enough of this ramble.
M&A. Let's skip stablecoins. We've done too much stable. We had 2 years.
Other than tomorrow's going to be an episode we're going to record on the policy, and it's going to cover the Genius Act, which is really, really important.
Yeah, we'll skip. So there's 3 big policy initiatives. I mean, this is DC. This is DC week, crypto week in DC. Not even dubbed, by the way, not dubbed by crypto people, dubbed by policymakers in DC. This is crypto week in DC right now. There's a bunch of big stuff. Actually, I just got a text saying something big is happening right now. Vote is happening. They did a verbal vote this morning. Chair said the yeses have it, but then Maxine Waters got a postponement. They're back to debate now. This would be the vote on the final passage. So when you're listening to this Friday morning, we will be late. A bunch of stuff will have happened this afternoon, but we're going to do a really good recap with the VP of Policy at Paradigm, as well as Rebecca Reddig are joining tomorrow morning, and then that episode will be out on Monday to give you a full recap. Mantle is pioneering the blockchain for banking, a bold new category combining traditional finance with the power of Web3. With UR, the world's first on-chain money app, users can manage fiat and crypto side by side using a Swiss IBAN account in Euro, US dollar, Swiss franc, and RMB, all posted to the blockchain. Backed by the Mantle network, UR is the access layer that unlocks a purpose-built vertical platform for on-chain payments, trading, and asset protocols, including METH, MI4, and functions FBTC. All economic activity within UR will be captured by Mantle Network to further drive value to MNT token holders. Follow Mantle on X at Mantle_official for more. I wanted to take a moment to tell you about today's sponsor, Zenrock, the permissionless, decentralized custody network backed by Roundtable partners, 10T, Maven 11, and Spartan. Now available on Jupiter, Rock is the native token for transactions within the Zenrock ecosystem and secures Zenrock's decentralized custody network. The first application launching on Zenrock is ZenBTC, yield-bearing Bitcoin on Solana. ZenBTC will be live in April 2025. To find out more, you can follow Zenrock on X or click the link in the show notes. I wanted to take a moment to tell you about Citrea, the ZK rollup expanding Bitcoin's utility without sacrificing its security. Using ZK technology, Citrea enables Bitcoin to function as a fully programmable financial platform. Citrea is optimistically verified by Bitcoin, offering the most secure and native way to extend Bitcoin's utility to DeFi. With Citrea, developers can build scalable payment systems, tap into Bitcoin's liquidity with financial applications, and build privacy systems. Citrea is currently on testnet and approaching mainnet. To follow their progress, click the link in the show notes or follow them on X at Citrea_XYZ. As always, investments in blockchain technology involve risk, terms, and conditions apply. Santi, you want to talk stablecoins or you want to talk M&A?
M&A.
M&A.
I mean, stablecoins, right. Yeah. I mean, other than what?
Well, you sent me a thing.
Oh, banks. Let's skip that for our now resident host, Rob, to talk about that next week. I think it's evolving. Right. But obviously, we can link that to the show notes. But let's talk about it.
So Talos acquired. There's two deals this week that were interesting. One was Ondo Finance. Ondo, like an L1 for RWAs, acquired Strangelove, who is behind. They're like the labs entity, I think, of a lot of stuff that happens in Cosmos. So that was actually pretty.
We had Jack Samplin
exactly
on the pod. Exactly. That's him, right?
But this one's way more interesting and way more relevant to Blockworks. And I paid very close attention to it, which is that Talos acquired Coinmetrics in a $100 million deal. Coinmetrics was started by Nick Carter, as well as Jacob. What's his last name?
Frankel.
Frankel,
yeah. Frankel, yeah. He's
one of the founders of Alliance. Yeah, and then was Matt Walsh involved in that too?
Maybe, no? I think so.
I don't know. But anyways, Coinmetrics has been around for a very long time. They're, if you pull up CNBC and you look at, the prices on CNBC, it's Coinmetrics data. They are in the same bucket as their two main competitors are Kaiko and Amber Data. And yeah, so congrats to the Coinmetrics team. They had raised about 60 or 70 million, and this acquisition is for 100 million. So I'm not sure if it was a good or bad outcome for the team, but yeah, either way, big congrats to the Coinmetrics team. What do you think about this?
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, I think clearly the appetite for traditional companies to get into the space and add coverage, and as the space becomes more institutional, I think there's a very clear understanding that people are I read this as legacy players are sprinting to get smarter and staff up and build a practice around crypto. And so I think that's thematically going to be one of the areas of big M&A activity. Information services companies that are facilitating legacy companies to build a practice. So, this could also include chain analysis of the world, data analytics companies, all of that. If you think about, if you're a legacy business that wants to serve their client base, you want to have really good access. And the reality is, like, the information services space that covers crypto is still, evolving and in the early days. So, but there's, players like Coinmetrics, obviously you guys, and others that have built really interesting indexing, reporting, data analytics platforms. And
you can clearly see what Talos is doing here. By the way, so Talos is an institutional trading platform.
Backed by Citi.
What's that?
Backed by Citi, right?
I didn't know that, but that sounds right. That sounds right. Very institutional business. Okay. Backed by BNY, Citi, Coinbase Ventures, Castle Island, Fidelity, Galaxy, Wells Fargo, General Atlantic, Andreessen. Big institutional trading platform. I think they compete. I don't know who they compete with actually, but maybe Paradigm, not Paradigm the VC, but Paradigm the platform. I actually don't know who they compete with, but their customers are like OTC desks, brokerages, asset managers, banks, hedge funds, things like that. So bringing data in-house is interesting. I will say, so the business model of Coinmetrics is interesting. What you're seeing right now on the data side, just because we kind of live in this world, is that there are different layers of the stack of data. And for any founders who listen to the show, I think it's really important to think about what layer of the stack you are going to play at. And the lower you are in the stack, I think people look at the L1 premium and they say, oh, I really want to be at the infrastructure stack layer of the stack. Or they look at AWS and Azure and they say, I really want to be at the bottom of the stack because everything that's built on top of me, I give value from. Data is a little different, and I think a lot of other verticals are different as well. So data, there's I'd broadly bucket it as three layers of that stack. There's storage, there's storing the data, serving the data, and processing the data. Storing the data is like data warehousing and things like that. Serving is like streaming the data, APIs, stuff like that. And then processing the data would be like analytics, insights, model training, helping users take actions on top of that data. Coinmetrics sits at the serving the data part of the stack, which has become a bit of it's a tough business model to be in the API for data, the API space right now for a lot of these data players. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the rest of these data companies.
M&A was a big category that we had. It's early. I think we're a bit early to it. We were calling at one point that Coinbase was going to get acquired when it was like at an all-time low of like $20-$30. Lo and behold, it's now at 400.
No, I didn't say they would get acquired. I said they would acquire a bank.
Coinbase. No, I said that someone in my prediction 2 years ago, like when Coinbase was at an all-time low, I said someone should actually acquire Coinbase. It was like at a
the problem with that is no one has the balls to do that at the
back then. It was political seppuku. I get. I'm curious now. Who do you think? I think this M&A trend is going to continue. M&A and IPO trend is going to continue.
Yeah.
Who is the next company that IPOs? Who's the next company that gets acquired? Or if you don't want to name a particular one, in what sector or like type of company?
Okay. Well, we've got. I mean, the IPOs are obvious because they kind of announce, right? You've got. I think the ones to pay attention to are like Bullish. Wait, let me see if these guys have announced yet. Yeah, they just announced. Okay, I can. Figure. Figure just announced today or yesterday. They're targeting a $5 to $10 billion IPO. That's Mike Cagney's firm, who used to run SoFi. Gemini obviously is thinking about it. We have the CEO of Kraken, Arjun, is going to come on the podcast next month to talk about some of their IPO plans. I'd be looking at those. On the acquisition side, I mean, I think other companies in the data space, people that Blockworks competes with, I think are going to end up selling. What do you think? We've looked at a few of these. I don't want to share too much, but yeah, we've looked at a few.
Yeah. Interesting.
I mean, there's also just tons of like small teams, right? Like Coinbase that maybe doesn't really make headlines as much. So like Coinbase acquisition, Blockworks, like this. Like Coinbase acquired Open's leadership team. Oh, you can't see.
Yeah, that's Akuhai. I remember Open. It was backed by like Paradigm. I think at one point options protocol shut down.
So this is like options. It's basically like Uniswap for options is how I think about it. Is like the really dumb way to think about
definitely.
it. But
yeah, Akuhires are all the rage now, not just in
crypto. There's tons of these types of acquisitions happening.
Yeah,
I mean, we're looking at a few of these. There's like a bunch of data platforms who have like 3 people or 7 people or 5 people. They have like 1 to 2 million ARR. Like those are good deals.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that's generally true. If you're a team that like raised money 2, 3, 4, or even 5 years ago and haven't really showed much in the way of revenue, but still built something interesting, then I think you're going to get acquired by
if you're a founder that wants to go build something again, like think about it. It's almost more of a reputation game too. Like, can you say that you exited and get a good exit? Can you basically have a successful exit and instead of shutting down your company? And I think a lot of these founders, that's actually the better move. So
yeah. What else? I know we're bumping up on the hour here, but what else should we cover?
The fun drama of the week was Rob Leshner.
Oh yeah, liquor.
Leshner bought a liquor company. It was trading at like $1 million market cap, or I think it was trading at a $2 million market cap. He put $1 million in. Oh, LQR House, YHC. Let's see how this thing's trading right now. Oh no, it pumped and then went down. So this is pretty funny. So Leshner, so LQR House, the ticker is YHC, is an e-commerce. Oh, there, you can't see it. There you go. Is an e-commerce liquid retailer and marketplace that sells a bunch of premium liquor products through their website, which is cwspirits.com. So Leshner, this is an incredible move on his Interactive Brokers account. He didn't use a banker or anything like this. He just went on his Interactive Brokers account and bought a 57% controlling stake for as $2 million, not $1 million, for $2 million. And he said he then tweeted. He said, "I bought a controlling stake in YHC, a low market cap liquor company with a somewhat shady history. My plan is to replace the board, clean house, and explore strategic alternatives. I have not done extensive diligence. There are signs the company is up to no good. I will sort them out, but please be extremely careful with any low market cap companies. I might lose all my investment, and you might too." So then LQR turns around and they launch an at the market share sale to try to dilute Leshner's majority. So they're basically just, they're going to drive the price down, but they're just unlocking a bunch of new shares to try to dilute Leshner. So this is a fun game to watch.
It truly is. It's a meme coin of a stock. Yes, GameStop style.
I think people are going to pump this thing to. I don't own any, but pump this thing to Valhalla. Everyone wants to see Leshner win.
Again, Marcus has just become so. They're games, right? And they're entertainment, less so than just like boring places where historically old people like park their wealth and like didn't do much. Now it's just pure entertainment. It's like live streaming the shit, It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. People, again, you and I said it, and I've said it before. You said it in the last episode. It's a loneliness epidemic. And if you understand that, and that being a pretty big problem, then it explains a lot of the phenomenon you're seeing.
Yeah. There's an article I have teed up to read, which is...
you're not recommending content you haven't read? I see how it is.
Oh, yeah. This is my content rec. I haven't even read it. It's called Long Degeneracy by Jez.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know Jez. I think
yeah.
So I guess I don't know if he's doxed or not, but we can just call him Jez. Long Degeneracy, hyper gambling is going to eat the world. So I have this queued up to read. He's a good writer, entertaining.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's it. We're all.
I have a content rec. Let's get into the content recs. My content rec is not this Long Degeneracy piece, but people could read it if they want to. It is the John Adams TV show on HBO.
Okay.
If you're into history and like American Revolution stuff, John Adams TV show on HBO. It's a good one.
Who plays it? Is it what's his name?
I don't know. I don't know.
I know. I've seen the show. It's kind of old, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen this. Yeah, it's who plays him?
Is the chubby guy?
Yeah. He's a guy to Billions too. The prosecutor.
Yeah. Chubby
Attorney
guy
General.
Billions.
What's his name?
Paul Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti. Yeah, great actor. He always plays the same role. I like it.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we haven't talked about Susan in a while. I was in New York last week. Then she went to the Jackson Hole, and it reminded me of a great show which I really like called Yellowstone. And so, folks haven't seen it. I think it's
the least interesting recommendation.
Excuse me.
Everyone's seen Yellowstone.
Okay, but it doesn't make it the less interesting. It's like everyone on
2 years ago. Like, my recommendation is interesting because it's from like 2008 or something like that. So people have long forgotten about it. But yours is like 2 years ago.
Okay, this whole rigmarole makes absolute. It's just, okay. This is falling unsaid. It's a good content.
It's good. It is good content.
It is good content. You know, I'm starved for content.
Did you watch the sequels, like 1913 or 1918 or something?
No, those are sequels to Yellowstone. I saw there's multiple seasons. I didn't see
sequel. Oh no, it's a prequel. There's prequels. 1923 is a prequel, and then they go even farther back, and it's 1883. It follows the Dutton family's journey to Montana.
Interesting. Okay, I don't have any time for TV. I don't think I've ever turned my TV. I was thinking about putting a TV. I'm like redoing The Office, and I was thinking of putting a TV on. I'm like,
you're flipping stuff, right?
I flipped it. So before you saw that was like the background, very nondescript. So now you see this, but I'm gonna change the bookcase behind me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
but I
was thinking. You know, we were supposed to tell people what were on the books at the office.
I'm bringing more books. These are just like, I usually now read everything on my Kindle, but I have the Harry Potter. These are really good. They're just illustrated versions.
I do have another content recommendation. I went to the Acquired. You know, the Acquired.
Everyone was there.
Yeah. I know. It was funny. I got there. There was like a line around the corner. It was at Radio City Music Hall, and 6,000 people showed up to this thing. There's a line. It was like the most homogeneous audience I've ever seen. It was like a bunch of like
all the VC bros are there.
34-year-old like wannabe founder energy with like
wannabe founder, and yes,
it was so funny. But it was actually, I mean, they did an amazing job. 10 out of 10. They had Jamie Dimon.
Yeah, it was sponsored by JP Morgan Payments. So.
Yeah, Meredith, I forget her last name, the CEO of New York Times, and then Barry Diller. It was interesting because I was saying I just finished Barry Diller's book, and which people should read, called Who Knew? Interesting if you like the 70s, 80s, 90s in media. Barry Diller is an absolute beast. But yeah, I would recommend. I don't think the Barry Diller and the Meredith interviews are worth listening to, but the Jamie Dimon interview is phenomenal.
Speaking of Cable Cowboys, great book, and the Founders episode on it. John Malone, fantastic book if you're interested in media.
Yeah. John Malone at one point in time in the 80s was acquiring a company every 10 to 14 days for like 2 years straight.
That's crazy. Yeah. Do you ever think we would ever be in a position to have an acquired type of in-person live podcast? I mean, we do it in the conferences, and it's like
we've tried doing Empire meetups the last 2 years, and you didn't show up to either of them.
You're in a mood to publicly shame. That almost got in you, man.
I'm tired. I didn't sleep much last night. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Yes, we should do that. We should do that.
I mean, if and that's when you'll sell. Like if 10,000 people line up around,
sell it all.
Just sell it all.
Cool.
But
all right, folks.
By the way, one thing that's on top of mind: where are we in the podcast rankings?
In the crypto podcast rankings?
Unfortunately, just we comp ourselves to crypto still.
Yeah, I know. We are unfortunately sitting at number 3.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I think Unchained passed us because they've got these 2 shows inside of it: Chopping Block and Bits and Bips.
Okay.
So they've got a few shows in one.
Fair enough.
But we got to pump the numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. And then who's second?
Bankless numbers are moving now that ETH is moving. Now that ETH is moving.
We have to be like hyperliquid aligned or something.
Well, it's tough because a lot of the big shows in crypto have been around
price action trading.
price action, but have been around actually like communities that form around coins. Like at one point in time, the biggest show in the industry was Peter McCormick, what Bitcoin did. It's a Bitcoin show. Then Bankless ETH show. So
we will stay true to our holistic reporting of this industry. And yeah, I guess we're going to be shaking up a little bit of the content coming up and adding more spice to it, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. All right, folks, that's the show. Have a great rest of Friday, great Saturday. We will see you guys on Monday. We have a really good recap of DC week and Crypto Week in DC.
All right, folks, have a great weekend. Thanks for listening.